A lot of big things are coming for ReZero, and I'm confident enough in saying that ReZero Season 3 will be announced this month. At the time of writing, Season 2 wrapped up nearly 2 years ago, and if a Season 3 announcement does come, it will likely be premiering in 2024. And those 3 years will be a very agonizing wait for fans. It's been a while, and you can see the impatience grow more and more all over social media as people just hope and pray for a Season 3 announcement, only to find out about more Rem figures. I'm sure Katakawa wants to get to it eventually as well, considering the fiscal year after ReZero ended, they lost 35% of profits that they directly attribute to the series not airing. Now, you might be wondering what the evidence is. Why would I say this? And personally, I find these pretty hard to deny. The first and honestly least credible piece that we got was from the face of the online English-speaking ReZero community, Ice. He directly contributes a bunch to the ReZero fandom, making so much of the series accessible to the English-speaking fandom. And this time last year, he reported that Season 3 was officially in the production process. Not only is he credible to the ReZero fandom, but he had also correctly leaked something only spoken about in an unreleased volume before, meaning he likely does have some form of connections here. And if you don't want to take his word for it, I get it, but you don't have to, as Anime Japan is on the horizon in just a few weeks. For those unfamiliar, Anime Japan is where all ReZero anime-related projects have been announced, and, some other things. So, what's so surprising about them being at Anime Japan? Well, this time, they have the Red Stage. Now, the Red Stage is where the money is. The Green Stage is for anime that I think are currently ongoing, and the Blue Stage is kind of the same but smaller. The Red Stage, however, is for some of the biggest projects with huge news. By large, I'm talking like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and ReZero, which will all be at Anime Japan this year. 3 absolutely massive properties that are front and center on the biggest stage of Anime Japan. And by the way, I will hopefully be streaming Anime Japan in hopes of there being a Season 3 announcement. Make sure you're there. Now, of course, that doesn't explicitly confirm a Season 3. It could be an OVA/movie similar to Frozen Bonds or Memory Snow. What it means at the very least is that we are likely getting some form of anime content. Some people are massively doomer-pilled and still think this is only going to be about Rem figures, but let's take a look at our third piece of evidence. Kenichiro Suhiro is a composer for a lot of stuff. He's worked on Goblin Slayer, Fire Force, Eminence in Shadow, and recently on Dead Unluck. He tweeted out that he has started recording music for an anime PV, an unannounced project in particular. People, again, go full doomer and say that he could be working on the upcoming Fire Force season, but again, it is an unannounced project, and ReZero Season 3 is certainly not announced. But even if you still want to cope with being a Season 3 doomer, how about this post from the official ReZero Twitter account just a little over a week ago? Now, at the time of writing, there is only one of these, however, it's likely when this is uploaded, there will be a second one. But you'll notice that the account did something it doesn't usually do. It posted on the same day as Season 2's 22nd episode premiered 2 years ago, with a couple of screenshots of the episode and some text that I certainly cannot read. It's kind of weird to start talking about episodes like that late into the season, but there is a pattern that can be discerned. If it continues the trend and posts one on March 10th, 2 days before this video goes up, it will be about episode 23. Then on March 17th, it will post about episode 24. Then finally, on the day before Anime Japan, March 24th, it will post about episode 25, the final episode of Season 2, meaning the day after, they are cleared up for the potential Season 3 announcement. It's kind of like a countdown. Hello, this is Editing S. I can confirm they did in fact post the episode 48 post, March 10th, 3 AM, same exact time as last week, so we're definitely getting the next one next week, the final one the week after, and then of course, Anime Japan pretty much immediately after. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's all but confirmed. Okay. Even then, let's just say that this still isn't enough. Production leaks, the big stage of Anime Japan, the composer for ReZero talking about an unannounced preview, and the Twitter account doing what could be perceived as a countdown. What else is left? Well, the author has just freed himself up in a way. Arc 7, the part of the story that he has been working on for quite some time, has just wrapped up, stating officially in the full synopsis for Volume 33 that Arc 7 has come to an end. Now, if you hear all of this and still decide to be a doomer, I can't really stop you. We all have our own coping mechanisms to protect our fragile hearts, but I believe it is safe to say ReZero Season 3 is being announced this month. If not the season, then at least some form of animated content. Now, this is when it's time to address the elephant in the room. Let's be honest, Season 2 was lacking in a lot of ways, compared to Season 1. Inconsistent character art, some pretty weak animation a lot of the time, and unfortunately, Arc 4 suffered from death by 1,000 cuts. There are reasons for all of this, but just because there are reasons doesn't mean it isn't fair to be unhappy with the adaptation. ReZero Season 2 was likely heavily, and I mean heavily affected by COVID. It was in production during the height of it, and during COVID, tons, and I mean tons of shows were essentially interrupted during airing because of it. We have things like Black Clover, One Piece, and Boruto, which were all put on hiatus for 2 to 3 months. Series like Promised Neverland were delayed for almost an entire year, and ReZero itself was delayed 3 months due to COVID. COVID affected studios' income, it affected staff health, working hours, production, and schedules, so it's not surprising that ReZero Season 2 wasn't a perfectly polished product. Of course, like I said earlier, it's perfectly valid to have complaints about the finished product regardless of the circumstances of its production. It's just something to keep in mind when forming these critiques. So we have 2 potential positives and 1 potential negative going into Season 3. The first positive is that, clearly, coronavirus is not affecting the world nearly as bad as it once was, or at least it's not being taken as seriously, meaning we will hopefully not see as many production issues as Season 2 has, since there won't be some, unprecedented global pandemic that throws a wrench in things. The second positive is that Arc 5 is a far less ambitious arc than Arc 4. I won't get too into the details for spoiler purposes, but when looking at page counts for both arcs, Arc 5 is 25% shorter in terms of page counts, meaning it is possible we see less cuts than Season 2. It's still not impossible, however. They have done crazier things, like the absolute bitch slapping of Arc 3 in Season 1. I'm just saying, it's definitely a possibility that Arc 5 suffers less. Now, you can worry about the quality of the animation for Arc 5, considering the type of arc it is, and I would say that's fair, but I'll wait and see what they cook before I get upset about it. Now, the biggest negative going into Season 3 at the time is the state of the studio who produces it, White Fox. At some point after Season 2, or maybe during it, I'm not sure, White Fox experienced a mass exodus. Tsunaki Yoshikawa, who was an animation producer for almost every single successful White Fox project, left to form their own studio, Atelier Pondrak. And allegedly, this person leaving is why a series like The Devil is a Part-Timer went from White Fox to Studio 3 Hertz. Her leaving could have caused a loss of faith in the studio, and to make matters worse, a bunch of people also left White Fox to form Studio Bind, a studio that was formed solely for the production of Mushoku Tensei. White Fox has gone on hiring sprees after this, but to say the least, we are largely unsure of what the studio is like currently. At the end of the day, they are still at the mercy of the production committee, which was likely in charge of a lot of not-so-good decisions when it came to Season 1 and 2. Kanakawa does not want to face losing that much profit again due to not having ReZero going, and some people are rightfully worried about what that could spell for the adaptation. At the end of the day, though, it is likely to be announced this March, and I'll be greatly looking forward to seeing how the adaptation goes, offering my praises and critiques when I feel they are deserved. This is just another rambling video of sorts, kind of like the last video about the JJK voice actor. I hope you enjoyed it regardless. I will be producing a lot of ReZero Season 3 related content in the coming weeks, so look forward to that, especially if you're an anime only. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the funny YouTube algorithm. You can check the description down below to follow me on Twitter, where I'm objectively correct all the time. You can also join my Discord, where we talk about My Hero Academia, ReZero, Jujutsu Kaisen, and stuff like that. And you can also now become a YouTube member, which basically just gives you access to behind-the-scenes content, a little badge on comments, and live stream chats, and access to some emotes. Only do so if you want to support the channel, though. But that's about it, though. Thank you for watching. See ya.